Hi, I'm Lisa Brakovich, founding partner and chief marketing officer at the CMO Syndicate. Today we're going to talk about subscription programs and really how to maximize them. You know, the funny thing is most people think that subscription models were invented just in the last 15 to 20 years, but they've actually been around for much longer. Just think back to the old book and record clubs, or even further back to simple newspaper subscriptions. But unfortunately, many companies just don't understand the full financial value of subscription business models. And those that have them simply put their programs on autopilot. The outcome of that is either lackluster performance or damage to the brand or money left on the table or actually all of the above. So a good subscription program can provide a really significant positive financial outcome, and it can do so in different ways. So let's get into it. Okay, so we all know the way consumers shop is rapidly changing, and it's estimated that by the end of next year, in fact, that 75% of companies selling direct to consumer will start offering subscription programs. It's also estimated that the global subscription e-commerce market size will be $904 billion in 2026. And one thing that most people don't recognize is that recurring revenue programs can really bring a higher valuation to a company that's looking to exit, usually 2 to 3 times higher than a transactional model. So obviously the way companies sell products needs to continue to evolve. Now, what are the business benefits of subscription models? This is something much more than just offering the convenience of lower prices and ongoing services or shipments. The first thing is predictable revenue. So when you think about using this to help with budgeting or inventory forecasting, that is a huge benefit. On top of that, you've got higher lifetime value for customers. Not only are these customers more loyal, but you also have more customer data, and this adds more financial value to the company. It's also a very scalable model, so it is much easier and predictable to be able to scale a subscription model than it is a straight transactional model. And again, there's a higher valuation, usually 2 to 3 times higher. But this subscription model is not just transactional, and that's where, again, a lot of people are not thinking about it the way it really is and what can really be done with it. So if you look at the old business model, here we have products, channels, and customers. They're all operating individually. However, in the new business model, the customer is at the center. They're typically subscribers, and their experience, their services, their channels are all rotating around them. And the goal is really to develop a monogamous customer relationship with that subscriber. If you think about it, I'm sure you have several competitive companies that your customer could go to. So what is it going to be about your experience and your benefits that's going to keep them subscribing to your program? Now, there's different types of subscription models. The one that everybody knows and probably the most popular is what I call the savings model. That's the Amazon model, where you're basically offering a savings for commitment to ongoing shipments or services. Next is an access to content model. The most popular now is probably Netflix, but this is also the old cable model. So again, you're paying a monthly fee for ongoing access to some type of content. Less popular, but still very well known, is the curated model. Blue Apron is a good example of this. And this is a model where you are committing to ongoing shipments or services of some type of curated product or service. So in the case of Blue Apron, you're getting ongoing products, but they're curated and they're different in each shipment for variety. And then there's the Rundle. The Rundle is simply a bundle of recurring revenue programs, and Disney Plus is a good example of that. Now, this is a really interesting case study. Restoration Hardware is a well-known furniture company. And in the beginning of 2016, they're a public company, RH stock was falling, and the issue was the company had started relying heavily on discounting products. Now, on paper, this was bringing in more sales, but unfortunately, the overall revenue for the company was going down, the brand was losing equity, customers were losing loyalty. So at the end of February in 2016, RH announced that they were going to take a page out of the Amazon book and develop an annual subscription program, and they were going to use that instead of discounts. Now, here the stock falls 26% after that announcement. Why? Everybody was afraid that discounts is the way to go, and now we're not going to be offering those, and it's going to be horrible for the company. However, when RH moved out of this traditional transactional retail business and into this ongoing subscription business, they also were developing this ongoing monogamous relationship with their customer. And if you look at the stock performance between 2015 to 2020, you can see what's happening. So RH is in red, and at 2020, at the end of 2020, where the S&P retail was down 3%, RH was up 123%, and they were actually up 320% since they announced that they were offering a subscription. So what is their program? They talk about it's what you want, when you want, and they're taking this discount that was so popular, but they're putting it into this exclusive membership program. And this exclusive program costs $150 a year. So for $150 a year, you get 25% off of all full priced items, not just select ones. You also get an additional 20% off of anything that's on sale. You get complimentary services with their design team. They have a concierge service. They offer advice. They also offer preferred financing with their own credit card if needed. So it's a very exclusive program. They offer, a physical gray card that gives additional credibility to it, and it became very popular. So now going to January in 2020, if you look at their enterprise value to sales ratio, it's 2.2x versus their competitors. Williams-Sonoma is at 1.3x and Wayfair is at 1.2x. And the most exciting part is 95% of their sales are coming from these subscription program members. So if you think about it, in 2020, RH has 400,000 customers, and with a $150 a year fee per customer, this equates to about $60 million in cash flow before anything ships. So this really helped them make their sales and inventory forecasts much more predictable. And of course, their subscription customers now have a higher lifetime value. Now, other retailers saw what was happening and they tried to emulate RH, but they weren't successful. Why is this? Well, it's not enough to simply launch a subscription program. So if you look at American Eagle, for example, they were heavily discounting merchandise throughout their store and they launched a subscription service. Well, unfortunately, they kept on discounting merchandise, and subscription members were basically seeing that they could get a better value if they weren't a member. So the whole thing was just set up for failure from the get-go. So if we step back and again look at it from the customer's viewpoint, the offering really needs to justify the ongoing commitment. So companies need to make sure that they really have a clear value proposition, that there's exclusive benefits and services, that their pricing strategy is really concrete, that there's a great customer onboarding experience and an overall communication experience, easy account management, flexibility and customization, and competitive advantage. So for any business, the best recurring revenue model also strategically solves a business problem. We saw that with RH. We're not seeing that with these other companies who really didn't think it through and set it up properly. So on top of all of this, companies also need to be prepared and make sure that they have the ability to operate this appropriately, have the right resources, tools, platforms, services, financial commitment, and a customer service mindset. All of this is needed to make the program a success. Now, another case study is a client I was working with, very well-known streaming education company that had been in business, direct consumer, for over 25 years. They started a new streaming service, which was a great idea, getting their content out there. However, their churn rate following enrollment was much higher than expected, and it was increasing. They really couldn't figure out what the issues were, yet these were very, very experienced, sophisticated direct-to-consumer marketers. So I was brought in to do a full audit of their model, their customer journey, their competitors, etc. And I uncovered significant opportunities to decrease their churn, increase subscribers, and increase lifetime value. And I saw that really across the entire journey, starting with their pricing and their plan options in acquisition, along with their acquisition messaging, their brand positioning, their value proposition. Then we got into the cancel save process, the onboarding process, the communication strategy, upsell and cross-sell, account management, and credit rules. So they made extensive changes across the entire journey, and it resulted in significant improvements. We had a 260% increase in active subscribers and a 15-point, not just percent, point increase in new subscriber retention. So to summarize, successful subscription models really have 6 key components. Number 1, they're solving a business problem. There's a clear value proposition. There's a great customer experience. They have a competitive advantage. They are using best practices in their strategy and in their execution. So why does a subscription program fail? Well, we talked about a few earlier, but it really comes down to 2 things. There's either a bad customer experience, or there's a poor internal strategy, readiness, and execution, or there could be both. However, the risk is much less when you're just having, poor internal strategy, readiness, and execution. You're going to end up with just lackluster performance. But if you've got a visibly bad customer experience, the risk is much higher because you can have significant damage to both brand reputation and your sales. So 3 areas that are the most common for bad customer experiences within a subscription program are areas with pricing and billing, cancellation, and account management. Now, most people think that cancellation is the area that most people are upset about. And while there's a greater percentage of people that have this issue, the dissatisfaction is much greater, surprisingly, with billing issues. So taking a look at these 3 areas of your program is a great starting point and probably the nexus of finding out your solutions to churn problems. As you can see, there's a variety of different things that you need to take a look at within each of these areas. But again, the negative impact of bad experiences here can lead to all sorts of problems, whether it be brand trust, lifetime value, acquisition problems, endorsement problems, BBB ratings, reviews, NPS score going down, CSAT score going down. So this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, although it's a large one, of the many different things and areas that need to be taken a look at and need to be done with best practices in order to have not just a successful subscription program, but also to be able to really monetize that program. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I've been working with subscription programs for about 20 years now, so happy to help you. Thanks.